Signori, buongiorno e ben ritrovati al venue di Golfo Aranci. Tra qualche istante partiremo con il programma di oggi, staffetta 4x1500 metri.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our relay day here at round 2 of the 2023 World Aquatics Open Water Swimming World Cup. We have a fantastic lineup set to compete in today's competition, so we'll watch those athletes and teams get pulled into the race pen now. We have 12 teams racing today with an unfortunate withdrawal from Portugal late, but now we'll welcome our athletes to the starting deck.
Number 3, Eva Fabian, Nathan Robiti, Orian Gablan, Jonathan Edot, Team Israel. With number 4, Ocean Cassignon, Aurélie Muller, Marc-Antoine Olivier, David Aubry, Team France. Number 5, Giulia Gabrielowski, Ginevra Paducci, Gregorio Paltrinieri, Domenico Acerenza, Team Italy. With number 6, William Crowley, teams in NIP, Pat Lam, Chin Sin, Team Hong Kong, China. Number 7, Lea Boy, Uni Beck, Oliver Clement, Rob Luffels, Team Germany. Number 8, Angela Martinez Guillen, Maria Donaldes, Guillem Puyol, Carlos Aranz Benito, Team Spain. number 9, Paiki Furuhata, Taizin Minamide, Airi Ebina, Anano Kato, Team Japan. With the number 10, Lara Granjon de Lireve, Sasha Belli, Caroline Lol, Suisse, Enzo Roland Munoz, Team France. Number 11, Joaquin Moreno, Cecilia Biagioli, Candela Giordanino, Franco Cassini, Team Argentina. Number 12, Maria Denningham, Dylan Gravely, Kensington Ehon, Joey Tepper, United States of America. With number 13, Janet Spinux, Celine Rieder, Linus Schledler, Niklas Brack, Team Germany!
So there we have it. All our teams now out on the starting platform. 12 teams introduced, and expect some very fast racing. I think there'll be 6 to 8 teams out the front of this race. We can see those teams listed on this screen now. Expect a tight battle from 3 federations. That is, of course, the main names of relay swimming in the world. We have our Germans, our French, and our Italians. The Italians looking for the top of the podium today. They were unfortunate to miss it on day 1 of competition, but they are sure to be fierce competitors in this race. 4 by 1.5 kilometers. Most of our teams choosing to go with the women first. A couple teams will start with the men, including Hong Kong, Argentina, and Japan. So expect those athletes to feature near the front of the race and really help out some of our faster female athletes. The German team kicking off with Spearworks for Team 2 with a starter. And underway. The relay competition here in Golfo Aranci has continued to develop itself into a mainstay on the competition level for international races, and I'm sure plenty of spectators at home very excited at the inclusion once again throughout all the races this season. We can see now, I believe that's the Japanese and the Argentinian team out in front, leading the way early. As we mentioned, those 2 teams sending off their males to start. I believe that's Marino of Argentina out in front, a fantastic athlete, the Argentinian. He was in action yesterday as well, as were most of the all of the athletes competing today. Raced yesterday, and I'm sure despite the difficulty that they went through yesterday, they will be looking to back up strongly. So once again, the water temperature under 18 degrees. We'll get that official reading to you shortly. Hence the athletes racing once again in the wetsuits and doing a great job through this opening leg. So this race continues to develop on the international level. It's an event that World Aquatics are hoping that the IOC will include in the Olympic Games in years to come, similar to the moves that triathlon has made in this space, with of course their relay now featured at an Olympic level. So the tactics in this race have developed over the years since the inception, I believe back in 2016, at an international level, where it is no longer 3 athletes competing to complete 5 kilometers. It's 4 athletes competing in a relay format. Each swimmer will swim 1 lap of the 1.5 kilometer course. As they go around the turn can, significantly smaller pack than yesterday's proceedings, so athletes able to tuck in a lot quicker, get around those cans safer, and of course hope to maintain touch with the lead swimmers we can see our man leading the way. That is Joaquin Moreno of Argentina. Finished 25th yesterday, a minute and 52 seconds off the lead, but within incredibly good company in that position. So our Japanese and Argentinians leading the way. So we've just got the temperature check, 17.2 degrees in the water for these athletes. 1.5 kilometer sprint for most of them. They'll be working very hard as they make their way up this opening leg. So we see a German cap there. There are two German teams competing today, with Leah Boy starting off for the Germany team number 1, and the team 2 for Germany, we have Jeanette Spearworks leading off. She had a fantastic relay leg in Summer Bay. It was a main contributor to the overall win for the Germans, so I'm sure she'll be looking to continue her fine form here. And of course, these athletes putting in their name for potential selection at the World Championships, where this race will be run once again. We know the second swimmer for the German A team, Leonie Beck, will be hard to beat once again today. It's a tough race out there for these athletes to compete with the likes of Leonie Beck and a number of world-class competitors, but so far the men leading the race is the Argentinian team and the Japanese team out in front. The Japanese team, the only team in the field deciding to send their 2 men off first before the women get to the front of the race. So expect them to feature prominently through the first half, and then of course when the likes of Paltrineri, Acarenza, David Aubrey, Marc-Antoine Olivier, Oliver Clement, including many others, get into the water, the Japanese team should start to fade towards the back. But of course, as this race evolves at this level, the different tactics are starting to be developed. And instead of just having a stock standard relay take, the country's starting to tailor their teams to the needs of each leg. You do want a good fast starter and a good pack swimmer to start off the race. So they go through the directional buoy there and make their way through halfway into the first lap. So as we're saying, you really do want a good pack swimmer, a traditional open water swimmer to start, and that's usually when you send off one of your fastest females. And then towards the end of the race, it's where we've seen Walbrock and Paltrineri do such a fantastic job, and I'm sure Romanchuk, if he got the opportunity to race this race, he would be absolutely flying in the back end of this race. It comes down to those pure speed athletes over that 1500 meters, and with Paltrineri and Walbrock being some of the fastest ever distance freestylers, it's easy to see why and how these results translate across from the pool to the relay. We get that shot there, the beautiful Golfo Aranci coast. It's easy to see why World Aquatics has selected this venue as a venue to host leg 2 of this year's series. It's a beautiful part of the world, Golfo Aranci, as we see our athletes continue to make their way down the course, and they won't be far off turning to get through halfway into lap 1. So we can see on the far side of the course now the Japanese team leading through the turn there. That is Furuhata of Japan leading us through. Not too much separation in that front pack, which means there will be some lead female teams in the mix. As we mentioned prior to the race, expect a lot of competition between 3 to 5 countries, federations, racing today. Expect Italy, France and Germany to be towards the front of the race, but the Spanish team as well consists of some superstars of our sport, as does the US team. So we can see the leading group update there: Japan, Argentina and Germany through Leah Boy in that white cap. She sits third at the moment. Be interesting to see if these swimmers are using those turn cans to separate themselves from the field. But at the moment, it is a tight race at the front. Stanno per rientrare verso il portale intertempo per poi dare il cambio ai secondi frazionisti. So I believe sitting next to Leah Boy there is Maria Denigan of the USA. She had a great race yesterday to finish in 6th position, really storming home through the final stages of that race to finish in 6th, putting her name forward as one to watch. Only 19 years of age, so a fantastic swim to get in the top 6 of yesterday's race and beat some of the champions of our sport, including Ariel Mueller and Sharon van Ruendaal. Mueller also set to race today. She's on the second leg for the French team. Castagnol in the water now for the French team number 1. So Mueller goes second. Marc-Antoine Olivier, we know how fantastic he is over this relay distance. He'll be in the third leg, and David Aubrey will bring that team home. So our athletes coming down to complete lap number 1 here, and they are working really hard. You can see on the cadence of their stroke how intense this distance can be for these athletes. They're doing a great job. Conditions a little bit better than yesterday, but not too different. You can see not as much chop, but there's still a bit of overcast weather, and of course the temperature a tiny bit colder, 17.2 compared to yesterday's 17.3. 2 separate packs starting to form there. So we get a shot of the athletes that are ready to race on leg number 2. So yes, 2 different packs separating now. Expect the one on the left-hand side, which we're getting a shot of at the moment, to be leading the way. That is our Japanese swimmer Furuhata leading the way. He'll hand over to his teammate and competitor Minamidi. So 2 men leading off the way for Japan. They should be our early leaders at the end of lap 2, but then they'll have 2 of our female athletes competing and should come back towards the back of the pack. Interesting to note though, the US swimmer currently up in the mix for the lead, sitting in 4th position next to Leah Boy of Germany. Maria Denigan finished 6th yesterday, as we mentioned, but in addition, of course, we'll hand over to her male compatriot in Dylan Gravely. Unfortunately, Dylan's brother had to withdraw from yesterday's race, but Dylan will represent the US in leg 2. So expect the US team to start to make moves here. There is a bit of splitting up happening now in this team, in this final lap. Still the Japanese and the Argentinian out in front. We saw this happen yesterday as well. As the athletes come closer to the shore, you can see the swell start to lift ever so slightly, and that's caused some separation here between the Argentinian and the Japanese. They're swimming offline there. The Argentinian now really starting to move across. That is Marino. And I believe that's the Hong Kong swimmer, Will Thorley, quick to adapt. So fair bit of chaos happening out there for these athletes. Chopping and changing the direction might be a bit of a strategy to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. So as we expected, the Argentinian of Marino near the front of the race, he'll hand over to his teammate and countrywoman to take the next leg of this event. There's Biagilo, who had a good race yesterday, but isn't quite of the level of the swimmers that we will see in the next leg, being Mueller, Taducci, Beck. Sashavelli will be in the water for the French team as well. So assuming Grandjean has done a great job to sort of put their team in contention, expect Sashavelli to really move forward with Dylan Gravely as well. Sashavelli unfortunately had to withdraw from the race yesterday, so he'll be quite fresh for this one and ready to race for his country. It's interesting, the two French teams using different tactics today. The team one, which consists of Castagnol, Muller, Antoine, Olivier, and Aubrey, have gone female, female, male, male, as opposed to the team two have gone female, male, female, male. I wonder if those tactics are going to help each other really benefit in getting on the podium if they decided to stack their team towards the A team. We'll see how it plays out. Regardless, though, so it has been a fantastic lap here by Marino of Argentina. He's powered away in the back half of this lap, but he hasn't got too much separation over the Japanese swimmer. Marino will hand over to his teammate, and the Japanese swimmer as well will do a fantastic job to come in second. Looks like it's a battle here between Leah Boy and Maria Denigan of the US. You see Dylan Gravely getting ready to go in for the United States. So here we go, lap one underway and complete. Argentina leads the way as expected. Japan in second. Should see some separation there. Biagalio of Argentina swimming strongly. Germany 2, I believe that's Speedworks. No, that was Leah Boy. Apologies. Italy in the mix as well. That was Gabrielski who finished in fourth there. Leah Boy, Speedworks, Gabrielski, Denigan, and our Italy team 1. So we are missing a couple French teams. I think that's our athletes getting underway now. No, that is Spain currently sitting in 8th position. So expect Japan to pull away here. We'll see the French really start to make moves through Sashavelli, but the two French teams would not like to be where they are. Castagnol did not finish yesterday and unfortunately didn't have the best of the starts in that race either. She hands over to Muller. The second French team in Grandjean hands over to Sashavelli, so he will swim through this field here as to be expected and might in fact drag some of the other teams with him. So in the water now for Germany, one is Leonie Beck, who was absolutely fantastic yesterday. Rada in the water for Germany, two as well. They're in that second pack, chasing down the Argentinian and the Japanese swimmer out in front. But at the moment, the race runs through Japan as we expected. The only team to send off, there are two male swimmers. So Minamata of Japan leads the way. So Tashin Minamata of Japan out and underway. He has got that separation from the rest of the field. Had a solid race yesterday, finishing in 28th overall, just behind David Aubrey. So a fantastic race for the 27-year-old, a minute and 53 seconds off the lead, but sitting well and truly in that chase pack that was formed yesterday after the heroics of Gregorio Paltrinieri. We will see him on this third leg today. He'll hand over to Acarenza. He had Gabrielski and Taducci leading them out. So the third place swimmer from yesterday's women's 10 kilometer handing to the second place swimmer from the women's 10 kilometer race. So we get that shot there. That's Sachavelli, I believe, of France. No, sorry. That's Dylan Gravely of the US, sitting in second, trying to chase down Tashin Minamata of Japan. Gravely's done a fantastic job through the early stages of this second lap to close down that gap. He was in good company. Maria Denigan handed over to him in a comfortable position, but Gravely has done a great work through the opening stages. Didn't have the best of races yesterday, but still an impressive performance. The youngster from the US continuing to grow on an international level. The US did have a little bit of a hole to fill after the retirement of Jordan Wilimowski, and the two Gravely brothers have done a great job. Apologies, Dylan Gravely finished 21st yesterday. His brother Brendan unfortunately having to withdraw, but to finish a minute and 48 seconds in some incredible company in 21st is a great race. Also swimming strongly, our Spanish team. We know that they're going to come home like an absolute freight train. So we expected to see the Italians, the French and the Germans in contention for the medals today, but the Spanish and the US team doing a great job as well to compete with the rest of the field. As we look now, Gravely has gone past the Japanese team and the US is now in front. What a result here for Gravely through the early stages. He's about a quarter of his way into lap number 2, the second lap of today's race. And if Gravely can get away from his competitor in Tashin Minamata of Japan, he will have a cracking race ahead of him with free water around him. He could do some damage to the rest of this field. Of course, the US team choosing to go female, male, a different strategy to the major competitors from France, Germany, and Italy. We do know the Italians team 2 is in the water at the moment with Sachavelli swimming for their team. They didn't have the best of starts from Grandjean, but Velli in the water and swimming strongly. We did see on that opening lap that there was a fair bit of chaos on the return straight, with swimmers swimming all over the course and having to cut back across in order to line up. We do know that there's a number of docking stations throughout the bay here in Golfo Aranci, so it's not always the easiest way to sight yourself back into the changeover zone. But regardless, it was Moreno of Argentina who led after lap 1. The Argentinians falling down the ranks at the moment. That's only because Gravely's doing such a fantastic job out the front, with Minamida sitting second for Japan. So Gravely hasn't been able to drop him. He wouldn't be too happy with that. Minamida getting a free ride here behind the US swimmer after Gravely had to work really hard to catch up to the front. They'll come to the turn can shortly. Of course, these laps 1.5 kilometers. We can see now about 50 meters to the turn can. We'll get the chase group in the shot shortly. So we see Gravely going around the turn can there, still in control, just taking a look back over his shoulder to see if he has lost his Japanese competitor. He hasn't at the moment. Minamida of Japan sticking strong behind Gravely, but the US team with a loaded back end of this race. We know McMahon and Tepper ready to go. Joey Tepper, just 20 years of age, finished 10th in yesterday's race. He will anchor the team. So Tepper out sprinting almost the entire field to finish in 10th in that second or third overall in that chase pack. Yes, it was third in that chase pack. So only Rob Muffles and Mark Antoine, who we'll also see shortly, were able to get ahead of Tepper on the finish. So Joey Tepper, a name to keep an eye on in the US open water scenes going forward. He will anchor the team behind McMahon. So Kenzie McMahon finished 16th yesterday. Also a fantastic race by McMahon. She'll be in the water third behind this great swim by Dylan Gravely, who's punching through the swell on the far side of the course. Currently about to make the final turn and then begin the descent back towards the athlete change area. And his stroke looks absolutely great now that he's in open water. Quite a bit of head lift and chop, but you have to do that in conditions such as today when it is a bit wavy to really cut through. Haven't seen Sachavelli yet of France. He was coming from about 50 seconds back, so I don't think he'd be having enough gas in the tank to shut down the lead of Gravely, but it'll be interesting to see if the French team... Oh, saying that, there is Sachavelli popping up around the corner. I think the commentator's curse kicked in. As soon as I said that, Sachavelli popped up, and now the French team up in front in the mix with our Japanese and US competitors. We can see now in that shot the chase pack led by Leonie Beck of Germany doing a fantastic job. They won't shut down the lead, but they do need to try and reduce the deficit. So Leonie Beck obviously coming off a fantastic race in yesterday's 10 kilometers, claiming the gold. She has not been beaten yet after the 2 stages of the World Aquatics Open Water Swimming World Cup Series. She'll hand over to Oliver Clement. So we're just getting an update now that Sachavelli has reached on the back of this lead group. So the great work that Dylan Gravely's been doing has been matched by Sachavelli, and almost Velli now moving up alongside the Japanese competitor. Won't be long till he's in the lead. In fact, I believe in that shot we do see Sachavelli, the French swimmer, out in front. Unfortunately, he was not able to finish yesterday's race. So to see him out and find form today once again is a sight that all fans across the world would be happy to see. With a team like the French, you do have to put your best foot forward. The likes of Logan Fontaine, Marc-Antoine Olivier, David Aubrey, and of course the up-and-comer Sasha Velli, all racing very hard to get that spot on the best team at the World Championships later this year. A gold medal on the line in Fukuoka for the 4x1.5 kilometer freestyle. So as we look to the directional buoy now, there's about 400 meters left for these swimmers to swim, and they would be going hammer and tong towards the finish line of lap 2. So if we look to the teams, Velli now in the lead. He'll hand over to Caroline Joyce of France, who finished 5th yesterday. She is known for her longer distance swims, but I'm sure she would absolutely be thrilled to be going into the water first after a great swim yesterday. The first French woman across the line in 5th. But this is a very impressive swim here by Sasha Velli after having to withdraw from yesterday's event to come through and really put his mark on this second leg. He was about 50 seconds back of the lead group when he dived into the water, but that has not stopped him as he's now in control of the race and trying to swim away from Dylan Gravely and Minamida of Japan. So Kenzie McMahon of the US ready to race. So our 3 lead teams now of France, the US and Japan all have females ready to race on this 3rd leg. That chase pack led by Leonie Beck of the German A team has Oliver Clement, who was not only incredible yesterday, swimming a minute back from the chase pack to catch the lead group of Rozovsky, Acarenza, Paltrineri, just to name a few. He was also fantastic in Summer Bay in the relay, especially having the fastest split or equal fastest split of the day with Marc-Antoine Olivier for the German team. He had Florian Welbrock on the anchor there, and they took care of business quite comfortably ahead of the French teams. But today Rob Muffles will anchor the German team, so we'll see how it plays out. The man of the moment, the man this weekend everyone has been celebrating, Greg Paltrineri. We'll see how his efforts from yesterday play out today. It was a brave strategy to lead from most of the race, and he backs it up in the relay. Gabrielski and Taducci both had fantastic individual swims yesterday. The lead Italy team who hand over to Paltrineri and Acarenza. So the Italians definitely ones to look for on the back half of this race. But Sasha Velli now, as he comes down with about 150 to his changeover, has left Gravely behind, and this is a fantastic effort by Sasha Velli. I'd be very interested to see what his overall split was. He's got a beautiful freestyle stroke there, a really high kick and high cadence as he comes down to finish. His right hand just dragging a bit on the water, but regardless, this has been a fantastic performance by the French youngster. He would have been hurting after having to withdraw from yesterday's race, but Sasha Velli has made up for it here for his country. Caroline Joyce in the water next for the French team, and they'll go in a dominant position. So Velli leads for France, and France has the win through halfway of this 4x1.5 kilometers. So Velli now changes over, Joyce in the water, Gravely hands over to Kenzie McMahon of the US, and the Japanese team sitting in, well, it says second on the screen. Yes, it was second. So Gravely just fading a bit into the finish now, and this is where it starts to get interesting. Some big teams and some big names in distance swimming on the starting platform now. Caroline would know that there are some fantastic swimmers set to chase her down here. We've got our Israeli team coming to finish off as well. But there is the lead group, the Germans up in front. Leonie Beck battling with Ryder. They change over here. Oliver Clement is going to be hard to catch. Paltrineri now in the water as well. So 2 German teams followed by 2 Italian teams. This is going to be a cracking back half of the race. We know the French team in the mix as well. Marc-Antoine Olivier still on the starting platform, waiting for his swimmer to touch the starting platform. Israel sitting in the mix as well. So it was a good start by Eva Fabian to hand over to her teammate. And we'll see how it plays out in the back end of this race. So a big shout out to our broadcast hosts for capturing the action today. It's certainly not an easy race to shoot, with plenty of storylines ahead of us. So we can still see Marc-Antoine standing on the starting platform. This is certainly not the position he would want to be in. It was Ariel Muller of the French team that went on that second leg and clearly has left some work for Antoine, Olivier and Aubrey to do on the back half of this race. The French team still being led by Caroline Joycer, being chased by the Japanese and the US. Kenzie McMahon in third currently for the US team. Can't expect them to really take too much time off Caroline here. And we'll get this secondary shot in a second as we get our athletes, our lead male athletes in the water at the moment. I think we'll see Oliver Clement and Gregoria Paltrineri. We just got a brief look at them there. So the Spanish team underway now. Just leaves our Hong Kong competitors to come in. And this is why it is such a fantastic event to watch, the 4x1.5 kilometer relay. Each federation represented by 2 male athletes and 2 female athletes, and there's no restrictions on which athlete has to swim, as opposed to what is used in triathlon where that is regimented. So the storylines ebb and flow, and you can really use the strength of each swimmer to the advantage as we get further and further into the race, especially in the chance of France here, where you're leading. You really do need an athlete that's experienced in the open water scene, that has a great starting strategy, that can ensure they're able to swim the straightest line possible. You don't want to be wasting any time or distance in this race when it can come down most likely to a sprint finish. And Caroline has a heap of experience in this domain, as we see our final team come in to change over, the Hong Kong team in the water now. A big kick to start them off, but fantastic effort to start the 1.5 kilometer race. Caroline out there by herself for France. So it is Caroline Joyce of France leading the way and doing a fantastic job. On the back end of her team, we have Royden of France, who didn't actually compete yesterday, unfortunately. So with that, Enzo Rodan Munez of France didn't finish his race. He did compete, but unfortunately didn't finish. So much like Sashavelli, will be bringing a lot of freshness. We can see our chase group starting to try and make some moves forward. Roldan Munez of France will be trying his best to match it with the rest of the competitors, especially given his inability to finish his 10 kilometers, unfortunately. We do know Joey Tepper of the US will be in there and amongst it as well on the back end, finishing 10th overall yesterday. He'd be hoping that Kenzie McMahon can hold her team towards the front of the race so he can race with the likes of Acarenza, Muffles and Fruck. So in the water at the moment for our chase team, the German chase team, it is Schwedler, our lead junior swimmer for the men's category. He did a fantastic job yesterday to take the lead from Sashavelli. Finishing 16th overall was Linus Schwedler. Just 18 years of age, Schwedler. Definitely one to watch in the future. So we've got that shot there. We can see our Japanese team sitting currently in second position behind our French leaders. There hasn't been too much change in the lead of that race, but now we can see Pautrineri and Clement of Germany starting to get to work. In fact, there's a couple swimmers in that mix as they make their way down to the far turn can. On the inside of the course, as I said before, you do want your swimmers in the third leg to be fantastic at sighting the turn buoys. So it looks like Oliver Clement has caught up to our Japanese team in second position at the moment. Japan, as we mentioned, the only team to send off their men for the first two legs, and the two women finishing off the race. Ari Ibina of Japan currently in the water, but Oliver Clement has gone past the Japanese team now and leading through Gregorio Pautrineri. So I don't expect Japan to feature in the medals now. Unfortunately, they did a bold strategy to lead off quickly with the men, but they just lack the firepower to compete on the back half of this race. But a fantastic effort nonetheless, and I expect Caroline Joyce of France to also forego the lead. So we saw before two German teams, two Italian teams were in the mix at the end of lap 2. I think we might have lost Linus Schwedler as they come down to the turn can. In fact, their inside line was the better of the lines. The French team still leading though. Caroline doing a fantastic job to hold off her competitors. We'll get an update shortly. As you can see there, about 20 meters the difference between the first and chase pack. So Muffles on the anchor for the German team 1. Italy team 1 will be anchored by Giovanni and of course Acarenza. The fastest Italian over the line in the men's race yesterday will anchor Italy team 2. So as they get closer now, we start to get very excited for what lies ahead. Acarenza and Muffles, Italy have always had a fantastic open water relay, won many a World Cup stage. So they're getting into their work now. Won't be long till Caroline's pass. Oliver Clement on the outside of Pautrineri. Guidi in there as well for his Italy team. So expect those will be the medals. 2 Italy teams and 1 German team. The Germany team missing Florian Wellbrock, so that is a scary proposition to think about ahead of the World Championships later this year. If you add Florian Wellbrock to this German team, it really does get dicey for the rest of the field. But the Italian team of Gabrielli, Taducci, Paltrinieri and Acarenza are a formidable foursome. Marcelo Guidi and Rochelle Bruni just on the cusp of that team as well. So there's plenty of things to look forward to at this year's World Championships, outside of course the 10-kilometer title, as we watch now the men take the lead ahead of Caroline Joyce of France. Sashavelli getting their team into a prominent position, but just not enough to hold on for the lead at the end of the third leg. So now we can see it is Paltrinieri, Clement and Guidi of Italy and Germany, and of course Italy again. That's our lead three. There's a fair bit of whitewash out there, so I expect some teams to be in and amongst it. Of course, the US team, the French team's well represented, and our second German team with Linus Schwedler fighting hard. He's just lost contact with those front few swimmers. I can't imagine he's going to be able to catch Paltrinieri in the back half of this race. There is a bit of separation forming here. That looks like Paltrinieri's gone way inside the course. Guidi and Oliver Clement having a real battle in the middle, and they've decided to swim across to Paltrinieri now. So all three swimmers sitting relatively in a line. See Oliver Clement, quite a clinical stroke, very nice and tidy despite the conditions. Paltrinieri and Guidi. It's an interesting decision to leave Paltrinieri so much room out there on the right, and there's a fair bit happening in the middle of the race. So of course with these relay races it does start to get a bit testy when it comes to working not only within your team but working within your federation. The two Italian swimmers, I wonder if that's any sort of motivation between Paltrinieri and Guidi to work off Clement and ensure a gold for Italy. The three swimmers now packed up once again. Be a fair bit of contact in that middle swimmer. That looks like it is Paltrinieri. He's used to the contact in these races. So as we saw on lap one, there's a lot of different lines being used by these athletes. We said throughout Caroline's lead at the early stage of lap three, we do need those third lap swimmers to be exceptional with their sighting to ensure the greatest possible line, not only for the lead swimmers but for the chase swimmers, to reduce the deficit ever so slightly. You never know what can happen on the final leg. But I tell you what, it's a very exciting prospect. We will see Acarenza racing with Muffles and Giovannoni of Italy, and potentially we could see Frack of Germany up in the mix as well if Linus Schwedler has a great back half of this race. We'll be able to tell shortly. About 400 meters off the end of lap three, one lap to go, and we will crown our champion for Golfo Aranci round two of the 2023 World Aquatics Open Water Swimming World Cup Series. And what a way to finish it off. The Italian crowd on the foreshore getting excited for the prospect of two teams and two representatives once again on the medal dais. We saw Oliver Clement ruin the party yesterday from having Marcelo Guidi on the podium next to Acarenza. Rosowski was a dominant win for Hungary. But here we go with Paltrinieri still fighting here with Oliver Clement of Germany and Marcelo Guidi getting almost a free rein into the finish line for lap three. Their swimmers now out on the starting platform, and we'll be very excited about the prospect of having 1.5 kilometers ahead of them and the medal dais So Rob Muffles of Germany, he has a load of experience at this level. He would not be afraid of anyone. But Domenico Accarenza is in fantastic form and certainly one to watch in 2023. So all our teams being marched out now. We can look back to the rest of the field. Linus Schwendler of the Germany now ahead of the French team, who sits now in 5th position behind Caroline Joyce. Anchoring them will be Roldan, who, as we mentioned prior, wasn't able to finish the race yesterday. So he'll be firing on the back half of this race with his eyes on Frach. But I can't imagine these swimmers in the lead 3 will be able to get caught from this position. It's been a great leg by Clement, Guidi and Paltrineri, and they have separated themselves as the lead of this race. Coming down now to finish off lap 3, 1.5 kilometers to go. And they're sprinting to the line. Oliver Clement was the fastest at Sommer Bay. Will he be the fastest again today? He will still have another lap, but he has done everything for the German team. Paltrineri fighting hard as well. So Germany lead. Italy 1 and 2. 2 and 1 in fact. So that is now Accarenza and Giovannoni of Italy across the line. The German team 2 coming in to finish. Linus Schwedler has done a great job to get his team into 4th position. He hands over to Frach, who's swimming for the German team, currently in 4th position. And our French team 2 now as well across the line and handing over to their 4th and final swimmer. So Nicholas Frach with some work to do at the moment. Rob Muffles at the front of the race and slowing the pace down ever so slightly. So Accarenza has got himself comfortably in 2nd. Japan now in 6th position and across and underway. The Spanish team will be anchored by the superstar from yesterday's competition, Carlos Garage Benito, who leads our junior competition. Sorry, he won our junior competition yesterday. The leader still is Linus Schwedler. But Rob Muffles looks in control at this stage. Out in front, looking really comfortable. Accarenza though with a fantastic sprint. Just tucked in behind. Giovannoni looking really good as well. So Giovannoni wouldn't be ecstatic with his race yesterday, the 21-year-old. He finished 39th overall, 2 minutes and 5 seconds off the pace. But regardless, out for business today. He is a great athlete, the young Italian, definitely one to keep an eye on. It is a credit to the Italian Swimming Federation, the age of these athletes. They continue to fight through adversity. I tell you what, whilst Accarenza does look very comfortable sitting 3rd overall, you do want to be careful. You don't want to have to give too much room to Rob Muffles, because he has a fantastic sprint on him when required. Rob Muffles had the absolute pleasure of working with Leah Boy, Leonie Beck, Oliver Clement, and now himself. And as mentioned a number of times throughout this race, the German team missing the Olympic champion, the reigning Olympic champion in Florian Wellbrock. So when they add Wellbrock to the mix, this is a very, very scary team. The Germans almost going through as a heavy favorite into the World Aquatic Championships later this year The Italians, though, they have a fantastic team as well. Gabrieleschi, Taducci, Paltrineri, Nakarenza. I think with Paltrineri, if he's able to be a little bit fresher after his heroics yesterday at the World Aquatic Championships, then of course he'll be able to feature a bit more prominently and go head to head with Florian Wellbrock. And we know the French team, when they're in full form as well, is a scary look on the competition. The US team, the Japanese, the Spanish team, all within striking distance, as are the Hungarians, and of course the Australians, who aren't represented by the men here at this competition. They'll be within shooting distance of a minor medal. So surely something to look forward to at the World Championships in July this year. Fukuoka. Credit to the World Aquatics team for developing a fantastic product in the World Championships relay. So it is Muffles, our leader now. He has slowed the tempo down a bit, and just raising the challenge to Acarenza and Giovannoni if they want to do any work and really push the pace. The Germans, they don't mind if the pace is a bit slower. Nicholas Frack, their fourth swimmer in the B team, is sitting currently in fourth position overall, and should they be able to make contact with this front pack, we'll be able to even the terms in terms of representation for the federation at the front of the race. So we've got this tight shot at the moment of the 3 leaders. We know Frock was only about 15 meters off the back of this pack at the start of the 4th lap. We'll see how far away he is. As you see Paltrineri walking into the media that has consumed him throughout this weekend. Back to the race though. Muffles leads the way. The 2 Italian teams sitting second. Italy yet to win a gold medal at this World Cup. The Germans won yesterday through Leonie Beck, and of course dominated the competition in Egypt. Germany continuing to establish themselves as a country of dominance in the open water scene. They have been dominant for so many years in this area. Thomas Lörs, one of the GOATs of the sport, obviously German. And I'm sure we'll look back at Leonie Beck and Florian Wellbrock in similar stead to Lars. We get that wide shot there. You can see Nicholas Frack of Germany battling hard, but I don't think he's going to have enough juice to catch up to our leaders. So expect the medals to fall between Germany and Italy. Not a big surprise there. As to the order, it's still anyone's decision. But we come down to turn at the far side of the course, and these swimmers will start making their way back to the finish line. And we can hear the Italian crowd starting to get loud and noisy for their countrymen. They want to see Italy on top of the podium. Acarenza separating now from Guidi. He's gone on the far side of the course, wanting to get a good line around this turn can. We'll see how it plays out here. Still leading the way is Rob Muffles. It's an interesting decision here by Acarenza to split so late in the race, but he potentially trying to pull up next to his teammate Giovannoni, the Italian in the black cap. There is Muffles around the can. Giovannoni still holding off Acarenza, but Acarenza now moving up alongside his countrymen. And whilst these swimmers battling for their countries and for their teams, they're still be wanting the best possible result. So although Giovannoni may have been in that second squad, Rachel Bruni, Pozzebon and Guidi will all be cheering him on. But Acarenza now making some major moves on the far side of the course, fighting through the boats out there. Acarenza is putting the hammer down on this final leg. They'll go to the final turn and make their return to the finish line. Acarenza I thought he had left his run a little bit too late, but he is storming through the field, almost on the hip of Rob Muffles now. So just confirming the order: Muffles, Accarenza, Giovannoni, the two Italians still sitting in the silver and bronze position. Muffles is lifted once again. So we come into the final turn now. And we get the head-on shot of these athletes as they power through what are not the easiest conditions to swim open water in, but Rob Muffles has plenty of experience at this level, as does Accarenza, and it will take a mammoth effort for Giovannoni to get up into the gold medal position. We saw in the previous lap that there was a little bit of battling between Clement and Paltrineri, which left Guidi with open water to make his mark. Can't quite get the shot at the moment, but it looks like similar has happened here. Muffles on the inside of the course. We have Accarenza on the outside of the course in the white Italian cap, and Giovannoni in the black Italian cap. So you get that shot there. You can see Muffles and Accarenza on a level playing field now. There's not much contact between the two athletes, so they are really putting the hammer down. It's going to be a burn of speed through to the finish line. I expect Muffles to come and make contact with the Italian Accarenza. And we watch behind as Giovannoni and the 21-year-old from Italy, and see how much experience he has. See if he can use those athletes starting to clash to dip around the back and start to compete. We've got our fourth and fifth competitors sitting off the back. I believe that is David Aubrey. Sorry, that is Roldan of France battling with Frack of Germany. So there we have our shot. Accarenza, the outside of the course, the white Italian cap. Muffles in the German cap. And Giovannoni, who didn't finish the race yesterday, in the black cap, and he's gone all the way wide. So a dangerous position for Giovannoni to be in. He has clear water if he wants it. Muffles and Accarenza will do battle here. And you can see it is starting to happen. Accarenza now shooting to the outside of Giovannoni. So a very tactical move there by the Italians, giving Accarenza a free run into the finish line is certainly not what the German would have wanted. I believe we go back to our chase group here. That's fourth and fifth position. Back to our leaders. Giovannoni battling with Muffles. Accarenza just off the pace. In fact, Giovannoni now the clear leader of this race. He went around Muffles to get into the lead. This is an extraordinary swim by the 21-year-old. We'll cheer him home. But this is an exceptional race between the German and the Italians. Giovannoni, I'm not sure he's ever won a gold medal on this level of racing. He would have been disappointed with the results yesterday. But for him to come and deliver potentially a gold medal to Italy in... Oh, apologies, I've been reading the wrong information. Giovannoni did finish yesterday, finishing in 39th position. He hasn't won a medal, not even yet, let alone a gold medal at this level. So this is a monumental swim, and he is in clear water now. I can't see Muffles or Accarenza really battling to move forward up onto Giovannoni. Now, he is the least experienced of the three athletes, so they might be biding their time, but there's probably only about 350 meters to swim. So to take a body length off Giovannoni in this level of pace is going to take an exceptional effort from one of these athletes. We can see our minor athletes really battling at the back of the shot. but it is Italy at the front of the race through Giovannoni. Absolutely motoring home here. He is in the Italian second team, but he has got some separation on his feet almost to Muffles and Acarenza. Just 21 years of age is Giovannoni. His personal best over 1500 meters is 15:18. So 15:08. For this swim, he would be close to 15 minutes on this leg. So this is a sensational effort by Giovannoni. You can see our Germans still holding down fourth position there. That's Nicholas Frack. They won't feature in the medals. And the French team also swimming through strongly. That's Roldan. But how is this finish here by Giovannoni? I think the Italian fans are going to be witnessing a gold medal for their team. Muffles now, though, storming through. I think he's got contact with the feet. If he can get up onto the hip of Giovannoni, it will make his life a lot more difficult. So we're coming down to the finish now. Giovannoni, or Muffles, and Acarenza on the lead pack. Muffles really starting to use that experience up onto the hip now of Giovannoni. The German and the Italian clashing for the gold medal. Italy yet to win a gold medal at this weekend's meet. The Italian fans will be cheering hard. The 21-year-old yet to win a medal at this stage. Can Giovannoni hold on for Italy to take the gold? Muffles is fighting very, very hard all the way to the finish line. Germany have dominated the World Series through the first two stops. Can Muffles continue that winning form? We'll see them finishing very shortly into the chute now. Muffles in the white cap, Giovannoni in the black cap for Italy. Acarenza coming through now as well. Does he have enough to lift over the top? So Muffles and Giovannoni. Acarenza just off the pace all the way. 10 strokes to go. Germany versus Italy. Who's going to get on the platform first? On to the finish. We won't see the touch. It is Rob Muffles, a champion of our sport. And Germany strikes again with an emphatic victory in the relay. Leah Boy, Leonie Beck, Oliver Clement, and Rob Muffles continue the winning ways for Germany. And what a finish to the Golfo Aranci race and weekend here for round 2 of the 2023 World Aquatics Open Water Swimming World Cup Series. Italy finished 2nd and 3rd. Germany get 4th. France get 5th. So, of course, with only one team can receive a prize for each federation. So Germany, Italy, and France get the podium as to be expected. Of course, the results to be ratified by our officials. But what a finish there by Rob Muffles. We knew he had the depth of experience to get the job done. We knew that he had the team to back him, but the way he positions himself in that final leg to get over the top of the field was simply sensational. Absolute class racing, using all his years of experience at this level to get over the top. He would have been a little bit disappointed with the result yesterday to finish 8th and a minute 40 off the lead. Just missing that break from the rest of the field, but winning the sprint of that chase group. He's won 12 medals at an international level, including a couple of relay medals. But that was simply class by Rob Muffles to get the win there for Germany, and a credit to the team that put him in the position to win that. So he did win the gold at the World Champs at Guangzhou and Kazan. He'll be aiming to, of course, represent Germany once again, but you add Florian Wellbrock into the mix, And the team selectors certainly have their business cut out for them, as do the Italians, though. That was a sensational swim by Giovannoni, but also to Bruni, Pozzobon, and Guidi. And shout out to Accarenza, who anchored the team of Gabrieleschi, Taducci, and Paltrineri. So some fantastic swimming here on display in the relays. And we'll watch some more athletes finish off that race before we head to our medal ceremony.
I had a really good starting position because my team did a great job. Strong two ladies in front, and then Oliver Kilmer to the great scoop in front.
So there we have the results. Germany on top, ahead of Italy 1 and 2. Germany 2 in 4th, and then our French teams ahead of the United States and Spain. So pretty much as expected across the top 8 teams. Japan well represented as well, heading into the World Championships. Home games for the Japanese teams set to be held in Fukuoka in July. They'll be well represented once again, and I'm sure they're looking to push towards those medals. But as we just saw, it is going to be a myriad of teams that consider themselves world champions and world championship medalists, or at least in contention. Regardless, we are missing, of course, the Hungarian team, potentially the Australians as well, and I'm sure I'm missing a few that will be in the mix. The Brazilians will be around the top of that race as well if they choose to race. So we will have our medal presentation shortly, but regardless, what a weekend of swimming we've had here. Golfo Aranci, as we mentioned in yesterday's broadcast, it has been a while between drinks for the Italian open water swimming fans. To see a World Cup back in action and in such a fantastic part of the world, I'm sure Italian open water swimming fans and fans of open water swimming across the world are rejoicing the fact that we're able to race in such a beautiful part of the world, and also get to watch the action from all over the world with streaming on YouTube and of course through the World Aquatics platforms. But looking ahead to the rest of 2023, of course, we've now had Summer Bay and Golfo Aranci swum, but we move towards next weekend in Setúbal of Portugal. Many countries still using that race, as we get a nice shot now of the Italian team, well represented today. As I was saying, Setúbal next weekend, with many teams, including the Italian team, on screen, using those swims as a qualification process for this year's World Championships. So, of course, plenty of reasons to tune in for that one, again, on YouTube and the World Aquatics social pages and different platforms. So be sure to check in. Furthermore, of course, the World Championships later this year, we've talked about it endlessly throughout the broadcast, set to be held in Fukuoka, with the form of Leonie Beck, Florian Walbrock, and Christoph Rozovsky, a number of other swimmers. Chelsea Gubecka of Australia comes into the mix. Anna Marcela Cunha should be thereabouts. It's certainly cracking up to be an exciting season of open water swimming worldwide, and be sure to be there for the action. And then, of course, post World Championships, there are a number of races to look forward to in the World Cup series, and we'll continue the fantastic initiatives introduced in the opening 2 legs for the rest of the season. So as I mentioned, we will be heading to Stubble next weekend, and then Paris will have another race on the 5th and 6th of August. And currently the final race of the series this year, the 1st and 2nd of December, set for Eilat in Israel. We know last year there was some fantastic racing there. Chelsea Gubecka taking the win for the women's. There's a deep field across the entire competition. So plenty to look forward to as an open water fam in 2023, as we watch now our final competitor. I believe this is from Hong Kong, coming down to finish off their race. They're up near the front early on, with Will Thorley leading the way, but have just faded off the pace. Regardless, it's great to have many federations competing in not only the relay but as well in the weekend of competition. This weekend, the biggest weekend of World Cup swimming since 2019, and the biggest ever, in fact. 127 athletes took to the water, 27 federations, and it's good to see open water alive and worldwide, as we see our Hong Kong team finishing off 1 hour 13 minutes and 46 seconds. So well done to the Hong Kong swimmers, who obviously had to travel a fair distance to get to the Golfo Aranci and race throughout the weekend. All 4 swimmers competing in the 10-kilometer race. So once again, seeing Germany on top, the Italians well represented, but just not enough in the tank to get over Rob Muffles, who was extraordinary. So we're just 3 minutes away from our medal ceremony, which will be the final presentation of this weekend's incredible meet at the Golfo Aranci here in Italy. I'm sure the world alight has been watching along. Leonie Beck was nothing short of clinical yesterday, an absolute masterclass, sitting back, biding her time, moving through the field at 8 kilometers and striking when the iron was hot. That is as classy as it gets in open water swimming. The men's race, a little bit different, but still very, very interesting to watch. We had Gregorio Paltrineri playing tactics with the rest of the field, trying to separate himself from everyone in the process. Brought 6 swimmers with him. Oliver Clement swimming back up to that chase pack, which is an extraordinary effort. And then Krzysztof Rozowski striking when possible, knowing the fact that Paltrineri wouldn't have the same gas as he usually would at the end of the race, and storming away for a dominant victory, looking really strong in the process. It certainly is exciting. We're missing some of our best athletes in the world, So they would have been taking notes quietly on the different tactics being used by Beck, Rozovsky, Patroneri, Mueller, just to name a few. And I'm sure when it comes to Fukuoka and later stages of this year's World Cup Series, it will be exciting to watch. A number of new initiatives, as we discussed, of course, the relays being on display at every World Cup stop, which was exceptional to see today. And congratulations once again to our victors from Germany, but also the sprint champions at the end of this round. Rozovsky and Sharon van Rundal are leaders, and very deserved leaders through the first two stages, getting after those sprints. Our leaders for our junior competition as well have been exciting to watch. We unfortunately lost Sashvili yesterday, but Linus Schwedler stepped up to the mark to take over. And then, of course, plenty of excitement laying ahead of us. My name is Will Rollo. I've been the commentator throughout the first 2 days of competition here at the Golfo Aranci, and will continue to commentate the way through the World Cup stops. Looking forward to plenty of action left in 2023 as we head shortly to our medal presentation.
jiggle, wiggle, and dance like the roof on fire. We go drink drinks and take shots until we fall out like the roof on fire. Now, baby, get my booty naked, take off all your clothes and light the roof on fire. Tell her, baby, 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 I'm on fire. I tell her, baby, 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 I'm on fire.
Allora pubblico vi aspettiamo vicino al podio, davanti al palco del podio per celebrare tutti gli atleti medagliati nella staffetta. Vi aspettiamo tutti qua. Dove c'è il video gigante a fianco alla tribuna, in qualche istante le premiazioni della staffetta 4 per 1500 metri mista. attenzione cortesemente, io credo che devono essere 3 minuti in zona podi, grazie.
accompanied by the Vice President of the Region of Sardinia, il Vicepresidente della Regione Sardegna, Giuseppe Fasolino, and Mayor of Golfo Aranci, dal Sindaco di Golfo Aranci, Mario Muvassa. Terzo posto, medaglia di bronzo, third place, bronze medalist, Team Francia, Lara Grandjean de Villele, Sasha Velli, Caroline Laure Juiz, Enzo Roland Munoz. Second and silver medal, secondo posto, argento, Team Italia! Pellegrini, Barbara Pozzobon, Marcello Guidi, Ivan Giovannoni. First place, gold medalist. Preposto, medaglia d'oro, vincono Team Germany, Germania. Lea Boy, Rani Beck, Oliver Clement, Rod Muffels. gentlemen, please be upstanding for the national anthem of Germany. Signore e signori, rimaniamo tutti in piedi per celebrare gli atleti vincitori con l'inno della Germania. L'applauso va fortissimo per gli atleti medagliati nella gara di staffetta qui alla seconda tappa della World Cup Golfo Aranci 2023. Come on people, make some noise for the World Cup medalists! Il vicequestore e dirigente commissario di Olbia e Ordine Pubblico Fabio Scano è rappresentato dall'ispettore Roberto Zanella. Chiamiamo anche sul palco luogotenente cariche speciali comandante stazione dei carabinieri di Golfo Aranci Domenico Maria Cuccinotto. Chiamiamo sul palco il comandante della polizia locale Roberto Toggi. Ovviamente il pubblico di Golfo Aranci li accogliamo con un applauso. Questo è il ringraziamento della città di Golfo Aranci per quanto fatto, per averci aiutato nell'organizzazione di questo importantissimo evento. Allora Silvia Fioravanti, presidente del comitato organizzatore di Aquatic Team Freedom, a consegnare i premi di ringraziamento. Il dirigente dottor Scano, premio ritirato dall'ispettore Roberto Zanella. Luogotenente cariche speciali comandante della stazione carabinieri di Golfo Aranci Domenico Maria Cucinotta e il comandante della polizia locale Roberto Toggi. Questo adesso l'applauso di ringraziamento da parte di tutti noi e da parte della città di Golfo Aranci. Swimming World Cup Leg 2 Golfo Aranci 2023. That's all. Thanks to all of you for joining us in this amazing event. I wish you a good coming back at all and a good afternoon. Thank you all. Per questa tappa della World Aquatics Open Water Swimming World Cup Golfo Aranci 2023 è tutto. Un ringraziamento speciale a tutti voi. L'applauso va a voi Golfo Aranci che ci avete ospitato per questa fantastica tappa. Grazie di tutto, un buon rientro a casa e un buon proseguimento di giornata.